It is a Thursday afternoon, just after 2 p.m., and we're really excited. This is actually the fourth and final session in the Best of COABE 2025 series. And we're really, really excited to wrap up with Dr. Tyler Harvey from Alamance Community College. He's their coordinator of data assessment and accountability. And we're going to be talking about a centralized testing center that Alamance has. So I'm really, really excited to hear about this. I think it's a great model that some of you might be inspired to adopt at your own institution. Just some information about Dr. Tyler. He has a bachelor's in history and social studies education, a master's in curriculum and instruction, and a doctorate in adult education. So this man is highly educated. And he's been working at Alamance Community College for, I think it's 11 years at this point. Yep, if I remember correctly. And I think this is a really awesome fact about Dr. Tyler. He is a professional wrestling fan. So if you want to talk to him after this session about wrestling, he is the guy to go to. So without further ado, I am going to gift you the microphone, Dr. Tyler. Let's take it away.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope that everyone can hear me well. Um, I just want to just briefly start out just by thanking Dan and Lee for offering this opportunity to present about the Best of Co-Ed series. I'm also thankful for the support of our college president at Alamance Community College, Dr. Engel, and my division vice president, Dr. Snyder, and my direct supervisor and our co-ed representative for the state of North Carolina, Jen Mock, just for their guidance and support. And also along with our fellow staff and support team members, our coordinators, our chief examiner, and also our assessment team. They have really been phenomenal in doing the work that we do. My name is Tyler Harvey. As we previously stated, I'm the coordinator of data assessment and accountability for Alamance Community College. You go to the next slide. So just to give you a little bit of overview about myself, I won't go too long into my bio, but my official title is, as I stated before, is Data Assessment Accountability for College and Career Readiness. That title is extremely long, but essentially what all that means is that I am responsible for facilitating our intake and orientation. I also oversee our testing operations for the for CCR, workforce development, and I also oversee our GED testing. I oversee our accountability piece of the program, and then I also just help our program make informed decisions based off of FTE and our measurable skills gains. And again, I also facilitate over the testing services. Next slide, please. So what inspired this testing, this more than just a test session? So at COABE, I attended a session based off of Indiana. In Indiana, they had a testing approach where they centralized their testing efforts across the state. What they were doing previously is that they just had different testing areas. People went to different spaces for testing, but then but then after seeing some data and getting feedback from students, it was needed to just have a centralized location in which testing was done. People were being bounced from back and forth from different institutions to different places, so they have some centralized testing sites across the state. And what they found by centralizing the testing approach is that it improved the student experience. For those of us who are involved in testing and involved in assessments, we know that's something that already that taking a test or doing an assessment can cause test anxiety and can cause people to often feel like, I'm getting ready to take a test. Now I've got all these other factors that I'm having to deal with prior to taking the exam. So what this approach done for Indiana was that they brought their groups together. They unified in not only location but also in processes. And so what they found, they had greater results and improved the student experience. And they also it was more of a effort to centralize to make it more easier not only for students but for staff as well. Next slide, please. So during this session, we are going to be talking heavily about these five main ideas. We're going to discuss why our college has a testing center. We're going to describe the role of the testing center at our college. We're going to just talk about the structure and the staffing of our test center because there's a lot of different elements to a testing center, which is part of why this session is called It's More Than Just a Test. We analyze the importance of data collection. As we know, we make data informed decisions. And so a big part of this is just facilitating what that looks like for our college. And we also discuss how we work with our college partners. Now that because we not only work with just the assessment team, but we also work with instructors, we work with advisors, and we're going to go a lot into detail as to how this actually works. Next slide, please. So before I kind of go into why ACC has a testing center, I kind of want to have some engagement from the audience. Why do you believe that having if you're at an institution or at your college, why do you believe having a testing center is important? Or what do you believe about a testing center and what it could benefit? So you can type in the chat box so I can open it up to the audience. You can unmute your mic and we can just have a conversation.
Exactly. So right now we got in the chat, Dr. Tyler, placement is what Connie said.
Yes, for placement, for college placement. So at ACC, and I'm going to talk about this a lot in just a few minutes, but we offer the AccuPlacer, which is like our placement test for students to help them know kind of what math and English classes that they need.
Exactly. Stacy says that testing is prioritized when there's a specific center for it. So that would be a reason
Right.
why
So
having that center.
Right. So that idea of just having it centralized really matters because especially if you're a person taking a test and you're being bounced from place to place, most of the time you will not take that test. What we've noticed is that a lot of times student motivation and encouragement often starts with having the structure lined up and often starts with having what they need to know before they come. And one of the big things is just knowing place. So place and location do matter.
Right, right. So anything else you guys want to add either to the chat or you can unmute yourselves and share with Dr. Tyler. Looks like that's it. Unless you want to wait a couple more seconds, we can move on to the next slide, Dr. Tyler.
Sure. So let's go to the
Okay,
next slide.
okay. Thank you for participating.
Yes, thank you everyone for your answers. So far, I want to talk about what happened prior to having our testing center. So as of right now, beforehand, testing occurred in three different places. So it occurred on both campuses. For those of you who are not familiar with where Alamance Community College is located, it is in Graham, North Carolina. So it's in the center of Alamance County. We have a campus in Graham, and we have a campus on Burlington in Burlington, the Dillingham Center, which is where I am today. We had testing on both campuses and in our Student Success Center. These tests were offered under three different departments. It was offered under CCR, admissions, and Con Ed. And part of our college's plan or mission is the all-in approach. ACC has adopted an all-in approach, which is going more towards a unified model, where services and workforce development and student learning are coming together. So this all-in approach called for us to look at an area of testing to see if we could have it in a more centralized location. So because having it in three different locations, some students were getting confused, didn't know where to go. So now generally most of the testing happens in our center. Next slide, please. So now, as I stated before, we have a centralized place for testing. We have a unified approach. So this involves everyone coming together. This involves a lot of working with different partners, different groups, and it also involves being open and also being willing to hear different perspectives just to see kind of how everything happens and flows. Because if it's happening in three different locations and now it's happening in one location, we have to figure out a plan or a mode of how to navigate through that. And I can say that just based off of experiences that I'm hearing from students and from our staff, having this more centralized approach has really been helpful in navigating the student experience. And again, that student experience piece is the largest portion of our testing center. Um, we have one point of contact for most of those testing services. Our chief examiner has been vital in navigating and helping support some of these tests, and also just combined collaboration, everyone working together for the same goal. Next slide, please. So before I go into what is its role, we're going to put a poll up, and we're just going to ask at your institutions, what tests do you currently offer? So we'll give you a little time to respond to that.
Okay, we got a lot of GED and high sets. At least one AccuPlacer. Perhaps they're from Alamance. And then, yeah, whomever selected other, if you could actually elaborate in the chat, that would be great. We are definitely interested what services you're offering at your institution. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Pass this. Okay. Okay. 9 out of 15. See if we can get a couple more answers. Get close to 100%. Give Dr. Tyler some good data. He does love that data.
Yes.
Okay. Definitely, yeah, GED and high set. I think a lot of us are certainly offering those for our testing services. Okay. 11 out of 15. I think that's good. Thanks, Kate, for typing in NCCT Surge Tech. I don't know that one. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Let's
Well,
send that.
we thank everyone for their poll, and it seems like just from the poll that most of us give either the GED or the high set or offer both. I am going to go into a little detail as to what each test is. Next slide, please.
Oh, did I do this correctly?
You did.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I got multiple screens open.
So, what tests do we actually provide at our testing center? We currently provide the GED and the high set. And for those of you, I know that we're familiar with them, but it's always good to just have a refresher as to what those tests are. So the GED test is one of the two exams for North Carolina's high school equivalency program. And the GED test is a computerized exam that specializes in proficiencies in reading, math, science, and social studies. Um, these tests, as I said, are given on the computer. Students are required to have a score of 145 or better to pass. Upon completion of those four tests, the scores are coupled together, and the students are offered their high school equivalency through the North Carolina Community College system. Um, the high set test, the main difference between those two is that the high set test is a paper exam, and it has five tests, where the reading and writing tests are both separated. So it's reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. In order to pass those exams, the students must have at least an 8 on each subset, but they must have a combined total of 45 overall. So what that means on some of those tests is that the students will have to score higher than an 8. Now, the writing test in specific is broken up into two parts. It's a grammar composition part, and then there's also an essay portion. And on the essay portion, the students must score at least a 2 to pass that writing test, in addition to the 8 on that grammar portion. Um, the AccuPlacer test, this is our version of the placement test. We did use EdReady previously. We recently, back in July, started using the AccuPlacer. And this test, again, is just to help students get placed into their proper math and English. Our TEAS testing, this test is offered by ATI. It is a test that assesses multiple skills for students who are going into in our college. We use it for our nursing program and our vet tech program. So this is part of their admissions process that they have to take the T's to successfully pass in order to enter into those programs at our college. The TAPE test, as you may know, or as you may not know, the TAPE test is a skills readiness test. So it is our placement NRS exam for our CCR program. In our ABE HSC program, or our adult basic education high school equivalency program, we begin by giving students their placement assessments in reading and math, and we place them in class based off of their reading score. For our transitions program that we use the math and the language exam. So that's kind of the three tests that TABE currently assesses, and we're using the 13-14 version of reading, math, and language. For TABE Class E, this test is an exam that assesses students who are enrolled in our English as a second language program, and it just assesses their proficiencies in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For our program, we place students in class again based off of that reading score, with the other set that they take the writing test. And then in our program, once the students, we know about the pre and post testing. I'll talk more about that as well as how our team does that. We are soon going to begin administering the Work Keys assessment. The Work Keys assessment is now offered through our Con Ed programs, and it's for certain professions that may need that test as a means for job placement and other category as other things as well. We know that with the Work Keys, currently our teachers' assistants use this test. There's also maybe other fields that use it as well. So that's how we kind of do or use those tests in that form. Next slide, please. Who do we serve? So our program, so now that we are under a unified approach, we serve students across our campus spectrum. We serve students who are first year students. We serve students who are enrolled in workforce classes. We also serve CCP students for placement testing. We only serve for placement testing. We serve students on college career readiness program, whether they're entering into the program for the first time or returning to the program. We also serve nurse and vet tech programs, again, for that TEAS testing. Next slide, please. So how do we serve students? So we serve students on a schedule that really reflects what the needs of the students are. We also have somewhat fixed but flexible adjustments if needed. We do intake on a daily basis for our CCR program. So we have students coming in basically every day for intake appointments to do their placement testing to enter into classes. We offer currently morning, evening, and Saturday offerings. So we do offer testing usually 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and we also do some Saturday testing as well. Next slide, please. So now I want to kind of talk about our staffing. A big part of this operation of testing is having staff in place that can do the actual assessments. Next slide, please. So currently, who works within our testing center? So as of right now, it is myself, being the assessment coordinator. We have our LEIS data specialist who not only supports our testing services, but also supports data entry. She also supports analyzing our data for our program. We have our chief examiner who is offering the bulk of the exams. We provide testing for GED, high set T's, and Accuplacer. Um, we have an examiner in the evening to offer those evening availabilities. Our evening examiner also works on Saturdays to accommodate students while they're doing the GED test or the high set testing. And then we also have 5 different assessment specialists. So what we do at ACC is this, and their main focus is the TAPE testing. And so how we do testing at ACC is that we have a group of six individuals, five and myself, our main responsibilities is each of us are assigned a group of classes. So just to kind of give you a little frame of reference, ACC currently offers, in our CCR program, we currently offer 58 sections of different programs. So each assessment specialist is assigned 5 to 6 of those classes, sometimes more depending on what their position is, but generally it's around 5 to 6. Um, and what their responsibilities are is that they check the hours for post testing to make sure the students are post test eligible. Then they go to the classes while the students are there to provide those assessments. And I'm going to talk more in brief about what their communication looks like, and also just talking about more or less how they partner with their instructor. And this model was started before I arrived. And the idea behind it was that the link between assessment and instruction would increase because as we know, it takes the instructor being in the classroom to teach, and then it also takes the assessment person to provide that progress of how the students are progressing, and hopefully obtaining those MSGs that we love so well. Next slide, please. So scheduling. So again, we do offer the sessions throughout pretty much morning, evening, weekends to accommodate student needs. We pretty much are available. We have enough flexibility to honor when students can come to us. Now, just to give a time frame, we do offer most of our sessions starting at 9 o'clock. For the mornings and 5:30 beginning in the evenings. Our testing center is open Monday through Thursday from 8 in the morning to 9 in the afternoon. On Fridays we're open from 8 to 5, and every other Saturday we're doing testing from 8 until 1. So we have a true range of availability for students to come and do assessments, just to make sure that we are again offering those needs. We currently have the TABE and TABE e-testing that is offered daily to any student, regardless to any student entering our program. We do some one-on-one appointments. We do group appointments. We also occasionally may have a walk in, and we try to honor that student as much as possible. Um, all of our testing is facilitated by the staff our assessment specialists who do the placement testing for our CCR program. And the bulk of the other testing is offered by our chief examiner. And I just want to shout out our chief examiner. She has really taken this initiative and just went forth with it. She has really done a great job breaking down the test schedule, knowing what we offer, and also being available to students. So our chief examiner is Lorena Sarmiento. She has been doing a very excellent job. So shout out to Lorena and shout out to Melba, who's our LEIS specialist, for helping track that growth and helping see that progress, because it's really more than just students giving an assessment. It's more than just students coming to the room, sitting down, following the instructions, just taking a test and marking answers. It's truly an opportunity for us to not only track the students' growth, but to celebrate their progress. Um, we offer some off-site testing as well. So we currently offer classes at our main memorial library, which is our local library. We offer classes at our Dream Center. The Dream Center is within our is as a part of we offer ESL classes there. We also offer courses at our Alamance County Detention Center, for our GED program. And then, like I said, we just offer those different varieties based off of the needs of students at the time. Next slide, please. So a big part of our operation as well is the data collection. If you know, you probably can tell I'm a data person, so that's just my world. I love working in data because not only does data tell us the what, but it's the stories that tell us the why. So a lot of times we look at data and we look at numbers, but one thing I truly believe about our numbers is that numbers tell a story. And numbers that tell a story can truly help us collaborate and figure out what services we need to provide for our students. Next slide, please. So that's what type of information do we collect? So for all of our CCR related data, we collect what our MSG rates are. We're checking MSGs and post-test rate weekly for our TABE and TABE-E programming. We also look at the number of testers. We look at trends. So we look at how many students are coming in, when they're coming in, and what time are they coming in. And that kind of helps us facilitate to say, hey, do we need to offer testing more earlier in the day? Do we need to offer it more later in the day? Um, we look at the number of vouchers used. We were very fortunate over the last couple of years to have a grant from our United Way that supported testing fees for students that are enrolled in our program. So part of our program enrollment is that we do explain to students that they can receive vouchers to take the GED test or to take the HiSET test at no cost to them. And again, that's just another way of eliminating barriers for students who are wanting to enroll and make success of where they are versus where they can go. And I do believe that the role of the assessment is to do just that. Is to help students where they're at, and just to tell them the possibilities of where they can go. We look at score reports. So the T's and AccuPlacer test, along with the TABE test, provide us what is called a score report. So we look at not only how the students scored on those assessments, but we look at the areas in which which they were strong in, and areas that they need improvement in. Um, so we also use that data as well. Now, how do we use that data and how do we inform our program? Again, we use this data as a means to not only see the students' progression, we also track and celebrate their success. And we also look at program wide, just are we offering this? Are we offering testing at the right time? Are we offering it to meet the students' needs? Pretty soon, we're going to be looking at one of our focuses in that all-in approach is the student experience. How do students feel about taking the testing? Like, where were they in that moment when they were signing up to take that assessment? And what was their kind of overall just general feel? We evaluate that as well, because we do believe the student experience is central to the work that we do. Next slide, please. So a big part of this session is looking at how do we collaborate? How do we work with other staff across the college? As I mentioned earlier, we are currently in a unified approach where we're bringing workforce development and student services together. We also are in a place where we're collaborating with other partners, because this was not solely just a one person effort. This was truly an effort of everyone coming together to achieve a common goal. Next slide, please. So who do we work with? We work with instructors. We work with advisors. We work with curriculum faculty, and we also work with student services and Con Ed. So, like I said, it's truly a diverse group of individuals who are all there for the same purpose. Next slide, please. So, with TABE and TABE Class E, so each assessment specialist, as I stated before, the six individuals that are out doing the testing, we work with our group of instructors, and the assessment specialist responsibility is we check the hours and advances. We schedule time with the instructors to provide testing, and we share the good news of student progress. Now, one of the ways that we share good news with the student progress is that if a student takes a test and they make a level gain, meaning that they move from one EFL in the beginning to when they take that post test after those 40 or 50 hours and they make a level gain, we issue out what's called a level gain certificate. So this certificate is a template that is used by our college for our Con Ed programs, and it says the student's name. It says this student has successfully made a level gain in, and we put the subject that they made it in and the date that they made it in. And what we're finding in our in experience with students is that this is something that is highly, highly celebrated. This is something that we had a story of one student who made a level gain, and I think it was in reading, and they threw a party at their house. to celebrate making a level game. And so sometimes we just see, even though on our end we're seeing it as a level game, this is truly a transformation of a student's life. This is a transformation of a student who was coming in doubting that they were gonna doubting that they could make a game, doubting that they could do certain things, but only to see that they could truly do it, and they put in the work to do so. So this is something that students celebrate. They truly believe in themselves enough that they went out to not only start in the progress but to continue on. Um, and so again, that's why I say it's more than just a test. It's more than just students coming in and taking the assessment. This is the student experience. This is building the student's progress and improvement to letting them go upward and onward. I do believe that part of our CCR programs is just for a starting place for students that we want to see them transition into the college and transition into workforce, to meet what their goals are and to meet what their needs are. Um, we offer the GED and HiSET test, so we work with students to issue vouchers for those tests. As I stated before, we were offered a grant through United Way to offer that for the students. We also work with instructors as well, to help navigate how to help students plan to take those assessments. Because sometimes students come in, they say that they're ready, but we provide progress assessments as well for them to do it. So not only do we give vouchers for the official test, we also give vouchers for the practice test. And then a student can take a practice test just to see, hey, this is how I am, this is how I scored, this is how I performed on the test. Let me see if I can take the official test and pass. And we do have high success rates with that, because one of the good things about the practice test, it gives a student a simulation of what it's going to look like when they're in front of the computer taking the actual test. Or if they're doing the HiSET test, those practice tests are free. So it just gives them an idea as to what it's going to look like when they're taking the exam. Next slide, please. So how do we work with the advising? So currently, our chief examiner, LEI specialist, and myself, we are in progress. And that's just an update. We do currently have the access to Team IA. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Team IA is a documentation system. We use it in addition to Colleague, to just upload student transcripts. Now we're using it to upload students' FERPA documents, just so that way anyone who has that information, and typically it's usually our faculty, staff, advisors, staff of that sort, can have access to that information at any time. We share in the referral process for potential transition students who may want to enroll in different courses at our college, rather it be in curriculum or in Con Ed. Next slide, please. How do we work with our curriculum and faculty members? We assist in sharing with our AccuPlacer and Tees, because some are currently currently in a reset of our advising model where we have staff advisors. Some programs still have faculty advisors. So what we do is we collaborate with them to share those scores with them so that they can be better informed to inform the students of where their next progress is or where their next steps are. We share in guidance for advising based on those scores, and we work with them to meet scheduling needs. One of the big examples for this is the TEAS test, because for the nursing and vet tech programs, they have certain deadlines in which students need to apply. So they may reach out to us and say, hey, can you offer more sessions these times of the year? Or they may say, can you offer a couple more sessions this time? So we try our best to accommodate to meet student needs. One of the greatest things, again, I'm going to shout out our chief examiner. One of the things that we saw was that, I don't know about anybody else's area, but when the snow came, the snow had a big impact. Our campus was closed for over a week, and some student appointments, we had to do a lot of reschedules. So our chief examiner really worked hard to get appointments in for students. She was testing around the clock, trying to ensure that any student that got rescheduled, that their progress would not be missed. So again, it's more than a test. So anyone who's thinking about if your testing center approaches, one of the main things I would advise is just have that flexibility to be able to serve students whenever we can, again, to help improve that student experience. Next slide, please. How do we work with student services and Con Ed? So this is how we work with our testing center partners in student services and Con Ed, because as we remember, before this testing center happened, we were having tests in student success and we were having testing in Con Ed. So, and now that and those programs still have their respective coordinators and respective staff that are in different places, but this truly centralized testing services. So this now prevents students from being bounced from one area to the next, or being told to go to the other campus, or told to do certain things. Because one of the things I'm starting a little seasoned here, but in my 11 years, one of the things that I've learned is that if I am an adult learner and I'm being bounced from place to place and I'm told to go to another place and go to this place and I'm being given run, I'm just not going to do it. And what we found is that there are students who have been in that same place, because it does take a lot of courage for someone to say, hey, I need help with this, or hey, I need assistance in learning to read. I need assistance in doing these different things. So the fact that they're mustering up their energy to do that, let's take every opportunity that we have to ensure that we're able to serve the student right then and there. It improved the student experience. So again, students not being bounced from place to place, there's a centralized location for students to do testing. And now that we've unified our approaches and processes, this has also contributed to the student experience as well, where we have ensured that that things are not only in one place, but that services are consistent. So with that, next slide, please. I believe this is where we're going to break out into our breakout rooms. So there are
Fantastic.
just a couple of questions that we have. So we're going to break everyone up into breakout rooms, just using our approach. Some of the questions have: what aspects of centralized testing model could benefit at your institution? What barriers do you see? How could collaboration strategies help in this process? And considering the workflow at your institution, how could you improve one aspect of the process? So we will break you up into breakout rooms. Well, thank you, Lee. It has been my pleasure to present to everyone today, and I hope that in your sessions and your breakout groups that you were able to get some valuable information to be able to, if you haven't already, unified testing approaches at your institution. I just want to share that this really has impacted, again, the weight of our student services across campus, to letting us all understand and know that it's not only just about an assessment, it's about the students coming in, having that positive experience. Rather, it's a student coming in after having a busy day, having a busy schedule, busy work day, coming in to just have a positive experience so that we can contribute to support their next steps. It's also about not only supporting their progress, but tracking that progress as well. Rather, it's having our LEIS specialists track it in our system and celebrate their growth, or having that certificate to say you did it. That is a way that we support testing, to know that it's more than just a testing center. We support testing in the fact that to have a student, have a student who passed their last GED test to call their mom and cry because they finally have made it. They finally have achieved their goals. So that is really what it is worth to us. It's worth having an increased student experience, but also sharing and celebrating in those student outcomes. So again, I am thankful to Lee and Dan and to the entire state office, to our ACC leadership, and to our assessment staff at ACC. They truly contribute to what this all looks like. I think in our group today, our chief examiner is here and Melba is here as well. They contribute greatly to the work that we do across our program. So if I haven't shouted them out enough, I'm going to do it again. again, thankful so much to them and to our assessment team who truly are out making things happen for our students and helping them in their upward mobility and also and with that I will conclude.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions for Dr. Tyler, feel free to type them in the chat. You can also turn on your microphone, unmute yourself.
Question.
Go for it. Go for it, Connie.
This is Connie McGill from Fayetteville Tech Community College. Thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. I have a question about the student evaluations. How do you receive the information, gather the information?
So as of right now, and thank you for the question. So what we do as of right now is we typically just we ask students informally. One of the things that we would like to do is to develop some type of questionnaire just to kind of evaluate what the student performance is, or what it has been for them. So part of what we're in conversations about is developing like a short Google form or whatever type of collection method your institution uses, and just sharing that with students, letting them know, hey, you might receive a survey after this about your experience. Please complete it. It will help us improve our service. So we're always looking for ways, we generally now we just have conversations with the students and and allow them to kind of tell their story and share their experience with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Connie.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
other questions? I want to make sure to give you the time to talk to Dr. Tyler. He's here for you.
I have one more thing.
Go for it, Connie.
So how's your Saturday? How's that turn out?
Now, to make sure I'm hearing the question, is that in reference to our Saturday testing?
Yes.
Okay, so currently how we do our Saturday testing is we offer testing every other Saturday. So we typically offer it around the second and fourth Saturdays of each month. So we have our GED and high set testing on Saturdays. We also have some TAPE placement tests, and that's mainly for in place for our online students who, because our online students do come in to take the TAPE placement exam. That's just because we found that in looking at student work schedules and students just providing us what times they're available, Saturdays did come up as a part of their availability. So we offer those tests every other Saturday. And from talking to those staff that accommodate that testing, it seems for the most part that students are actually attending. Every session we do have those no shows that don't show, but typically it's been a great experience, and we've been doing Saturday testing for the last, let's see, I've been in this role going 3 years. So I would say probably maybe 4 or 5 years we've offered Saturday testing. And at one point we did it because of the need at the time. But now what we're seeing is that not only is it still a need, but it's just at that just providing being more flexible for student needs.
Do you know what the
Thank you.
numbers of that are on average, Dr. Tyler? Like we're talking about 10 students, 30
It
students, or does it really
fluctuates.
range? Okay, yeah.
It fluctuates. Typically we have about maybe, if at most, I would say looking at GED, high set, and
Hmm.
the TAPE test that we offer, I would say on average maybe 10 to 12 students.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. That was a good question. Thank you, Connie. Any others? We got 3 more minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to take a bathroom break. Well, I don't see anything in the chat unless Connie's got another last minute one or anyone else. I think we're going to end this webinar. Thank you so, so much for attending the final session. Thank you so, so much, Dr. Tyler, for wrapping up the whole COABE, Best of COABE series. We really do appreciate our guest presenters. That's the whole reason why we're able to run these webinar series. So it would not happen without folks like you, Dr. Tyler. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Take
Thank
care. Have a great
you.
afternoon. And we'll hopefully see you all soon in one of our upcoming webinars. Bye, guys.